Hybrid, targeted or hyper-personalized. Three very different resume writing content strategies, each with their own intent. But which one is right for you and which one is going to reap the most rewards for your job search? My name is Roland, a career professional with more than 25 years industry experience. Today we're going to look at resume intent. Now, resume intent is a key piece of the puzzle that a lot of job seekers actually tend to miss the mark on, or actually completely leave out when they're looking to write their resume. It's actually a key piece of the puzzle because resume intent is how you want the market to understand or relate to your experience, and also the intention of your resume and the type of roles you're looking to apply for. We're going to go way beyond standard resume formats, so we're not talking about how to get the ideal layout in terms of reverse chronological or skills based, or a general sort of mismatch of the both. What we're looking at is how you craft the content, and whether that content should be generic in nature, whether it should be more targeted, or whether it should be hyper personalized. And basically we'll look at the results of each and where you can start thinking about how you can maximize the content of your resume to achieve much better returns and much better strike rates and interviews per application. So the most common resume content strategy I see in the market is what I call a generic or a hybrid type resume. Basically, it's a resume that contains lots of different skill sets. So for example, a resume might have more than one type of position title. The skills can be aligned to a lot of different types of roles, and it basically covers a whole history of the candidate. Now, these roles are great, these resumes are absolutely fantastic if you are touting various position types and you're not quite sure about the actual role you want to go into, or you're a little bit undecided and you want to try your toes and sort of get a feeling of different types of positions in the market. Now, that is a great way of showing everything you have to offer. However, it does come with some slight complications. If you are including lots of different types of roles or different types of content and skill sets to match across various different types of positions, it can become a little bit diluted. So what I mean by that is resumes, or the actual recruiters want to see resumes that are very specific to the role they're recruiting. So if you're going to market with a hybrid content, more generic content, it could be good for some roles where they want to see a whole variety of skills. But for other positions, you might find your CV being sidelined by the recruiter and by ATS systems, because what they're seeing really from their ranking perspective is your resume may have 100 types of skills, but only 15 or 20 of those are relevant for that particular role. And on their way or their strategy of recruiting, they're going to want to see resumes that are more 80 or 90% role specific. So that's the first resume, is what I call the more generic or hybrid type content resume strategy. So it probably won't come as any surprise when I tell you that resumes that follow a more target specific content strategy are the ones that get much better success on the market. So for example, if a resume or the person writing the resume is targeting project management roles, then all the content is pretty much aligned towards those positions or similar types of roles. So it could be a senior project manager, a senior program manager, it could be an agile manager, it could be various roles that fit within that realm, but they all follow a very similar and close-knit team. Now, ideally, recruiters will want to get to know more about the person's specifics, but for the first instance, for the first level of screening, if the content is better aligned to the actual jobs being advertised, then chances are those resumes are going to get much better success rate. They're more clearer to understand, they're more defined, and they're much more targeted than a hybrid or a generic style resume. Number 3 on my list, and at the very top of my list, would have to be resume content which I call is hyper personalized. That is hyper-personalization resumes where the person writing the content has really thought long and hard about the job they're applying for. They are focusing a very specific role within a very specific industry and potentially a very specific brand. So if we say John Lewis are looking to recruit somebody as a supplier manager, then if somebody is coming from a similar type industry, then they are producing or writing a resume that is hyper personalized for that particular role. They might well have taken it one step further as well. They're going to look at the job description being advertised, and they're going to match all their content or a lot of their content very specifically to that role. So it might include specific IT packages such as SAP R3 or various supplier or logistics type of frameworks, and they might even be dropping in company names and competitor names. So what they're doing is they're basically working with one resume, one job, and they're hyper-personalizing that resume to that particular job. Now, that type of strategy does take a lot of time. It is time consuming, but it will yield the maximum results. If you tie that in with a personalized cover letter as well, then chances are that hyper-personalized resume will stand at the very forefront of all the others and will most likely appear on the very top of the shortlists. But what if you don't have time to personalize or hyper-personalize your resume for every single application? Well, look, that's totally understandable, and most people will go for more of a target-specific resume. So, as we explained before, where the content is more target and aligned with a specific type of role. If you feel that you would benefit from having more than one type of resume, absolutely. It's very, very common in the market for people to have 2 or 3 different types of resume or resume templates that they use for various types of roles. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this. It is my belief that I should be able to share my experience and knowledge in the market to really empower people like you to get more success when you're actually applying for jobs. I'd be very keen to hear your feedback, and also drop a line, drop some comments in the box below, and let us know a little bit about your experiences and what's happened to you in the market in your job search.